Hello, everyone. Hope you're well. Welcome to the first episode of the Metamorphosis Unleashed podcast dedicated to health, wellness, and fitness and everything in between. My name is Coach Walter Sellers. I'm the owner and CEO of the Butterfly Effects Group for Training, and the dancing lady over there is Dale Short.
Something about that music that just gets you started, gets you going.
Good. I'm glad. We wanted. First of all, this is new for us. We're doing a little podcast because I think in today's day and time we need uh, better information, and what we are dedicated to bringing is just that. The more information, the better to help you be able to make the best decision you can with regards to your health, wellness, and fitness. We're going to explore a vast number of topics over the coming weeks, months, and years, and hopefully we're able to impact you in a positive way. So please like, share, subscribe to the channel and to this podcast. And we'll kick it over to Dale, tell her about herself, and then we'll talk about me, how we met, and then we'll get into our first subject.
Okay, so my name is Dale Short. I'm 60 plus years old. I'm not going to say the exact number, but I'm over 60 and I'm proud of it. Recent retiree, been retired now for a little over almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years next month, actually, that I will be retired. Been thinking about retirement for a long time. I worked for NASA as an HR manager and did a lot of training, a lot of talking to supervisors about illegal things or things they needed to change and what they were doing and how they were managing their folks. Met Walter through God. It was just a godsend, honestly. I've had years and years and years of trying to get myself healthy, trying to figure out the right things to eat, what to eat, to work out till I'm just dead tired, just doing all kinds of crazy things. And then a friend of mine suggested that we get a personal trainer. And it just so happened I was looking for a personal trainer. And she suggested, hey, there's somebody we know that I know that knows somebody that's a personal trainer, did a great job with her. And why don't we just maybe call him and see if he'll take both of us on at the same time and we can work out together. Oh, sounds like a great plan. So I reached out to him, and in between my reaching out to him, which wasn't a long time, and me talking to him, my friend decided that it wasn't something that she could do. And so I could at that moment say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I've had my fill of personal trainers. I don't need another one. But I didn't. I was pretty determined to get myself on the right track. And so I had met another trainer also, had talked with him, and had gotten to a place to where it was like, okay, I need you to go to a local big box gym and get a membership there so I can work you out there. And that's not what I wanted. I didn't feel like I should have to go get a membership somewhere in order to work out somewhere with a personal trainer. I'm thinking the trainer would be the person that would help me work out in the best way possible. Nothing that's going to cost a lot of money. The trainer I already knew was an investment, but now I got to invest into a big box gym in order to get the training. And that just wasn't kosher for me. But at the same time, I was pretty desperate, decided to go ahead and just do it again, sign up with this big box gym. And I hate them because I've always felt less than when I'm walking in there. I always felt like I was being looked at or laughed at because of my size or because I was trying to figure out a machine that I couldn't really understand. It just was never a positive experience for me. And so because of that, I really didn't want to do it, but I was, like I said, I was desperate. So I was driving and I pulled into the driveway of the big box gym and my car phone rang, and lo and behold, it's Coach Walter. And so we started talking, and I was telling him that I was sitting in the parking lot and I was getting ready to get a membership. And the first thing he said was, you don't have to get one. And I was like, I don't have to get one. I am so happy if I don't have to get one. And so for me, that immediately relieved the whole idea of being in some place and I'm being scrutinized, looked at, laughed at, and so that kind of left me. And I really felt like, okay, this might be a better opportunity for me. So, okay, so what's the deal? What are we going to do? And now I'm thinking, oh, okay, and now I've got to go. Now I'm going to be in the middle of a park where everybody in the whole world will be able to see me. But no, it wasn't that at all. He was like, nope, I'm going to come to you, and we'll start on Friday. Are you good for Friday? I was like, sure, I'm good for Friday. So uh, happy, and I said, okay, this is my investment, so I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be ready on Fridays. Friday was my off day, and that Friday I woke up and I was like, oh God, this man is coming to my home. I don't really have a gym home. I don't have large spaces. Um, but everything and anything was working against me, but I also knew that I hadn't picked up the phone and called this man and say, hey, don't come. I'm not willing to do this just yet. I wasn't there, but I also wasn't ready to have him come into my little home and have him judge my small spaces. Right. And so then it was like, okay, well, he's coming. By the time I had gotten resolved that I was going to call him, well, he was on his way. It wasn't like I had a choice then, right? So, and that's generally how I've allowed things in my life to happen, right? Just life just forces me into what I don't want to do, but then it kind of works out, right? And so I see this car come driving in my driveway, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, he's here. He's here. Oh my goodness. And let me just say right now, I'm single. I'm a single female. So I've got needs like everybody else, right? And so this joker gets out the car and I'm like, damn. Oh my God. It's like, I done hired this fine man, sight unseen. I'm not going to be able to focus. And he comes walking, and he's real muscular and everything. And I'm just like, okay. And then he turned around quickly and went back to his car. And I was like, oh, well, maybe something happened. Maybe he's not going to be able to come. And I see him, he goes to his trunk and he comes out with a kettlebell. And I was like, damn, he is for real. Oh my God. Okay, 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 okay. Get your mind right, sis. Get your mind right. Get your mind right. And so, it started working out every Friday. And, initially it was hard. It wasn't what I wanted to do, but I knew I had to do it. And, but, he just brought the fun into it. I didn't feel like I was being scrutinized or looked at, or I didn't feel inferior. I didn't feel like, this man was just going to take my money, just have me do a couple of push-ups, sit-ups, whatnot, and just take my money. It didn't feel that way. So getting into it, he'd always come in with this hype attitude. And I was just like, wow, how can I get to this hype attitude? Right. And then I had to tell him, I was like, I'm thinking about retiring. I'm going to Florida, whatever. And, but the one thing that just kept sticking to me was he would always come in this hype attitude and with more weights every single time. And with more weights. And I'm like, I don't have space to put this weight, but okay. Every time I turned around, it was a heavier weight. And I was like, this man didn't realize I can't do this. But before I knew it, I was doing it. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing that used to get me was he would leave it behind. He wouldn't take the weight back with him. He'd leave them and go, use these during the week when you're doing your exercise program. I'm like, okay. So here we go. I got a personal trainer now. I now have weights in my home that I didn't have. I have a trainer that's very encouraging, and I had to just be open to the process. That was the thing, right? And so, but being open to the process means a lot of things. And so I've had my ups and my downs throughout it, and I still do. But the other thing is, body dysmorphia, that was kicking in. It's just so many different things were happening. But, I finally got to a place, got into a rhythm now, and I've relocated near the butterfly effect, not close enough, but near. Um,
Yeah.
and, it's just been a great, great experience for me, not just mentally, but also physically, because throughout all of this, I still, had to go see my doctors. We all
Hmm.
go see our doctors, we all get blood work, and we all get
Hmm.
these conversations. And I kept getting these conversations about, the short, you got to do better. Your blood sugar is up, your high blood pressure is in, we've got to get that stuff down. We've got to get it under control. And, hearing that, it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I feel okay. I'm doing okay. Nothing's aching, nothing's paining, I'm not bleeding internally, it's just all these different things. And so you hear it, but then you kind of ignore it, but then you kind of try to do a little something, something. But then I just found myself in a routine
Hmm.
that isn't invasive, that I can do. But you also have your down days and your up days, and but the thing that I think that's the most critical thing about it is that it's become a habit, that I'm always thinking about what I can do movement wise, what I can do, what I can do, what I can do. And even though I'm in Minnesota and it's
Ooh.
negative 21 degrees,
Ooh.
I find a ways to do some wall push-ups. I find some ways to do some leg raises, just a little bit of everything and
Uh-huh.
anything that I can do to just keep the movement going. And I've noticed that that has kept me maintained because I got my body beads on. Nothing's feeling tight. They're actually
Hmm.
feeling a little looser. So I feel good
Hmm.
about that. But yeah, that's how I got to where I am now. So I'll leave it there.
That's a lot.
I know it's a lot.
I was going to ask some questions, but you kind of fill it up. You know, what do you think the biggest thing was? Because we're going to tie this to a future part of this talk we have today. What do you think was the tie that made you decide to stay on the path? What was it that made you decide to keep on after we had the first couple sessions and you were sore as hell and you were just mad at the world, yelling at me, talking about, dude, I don't know about this, dude. Am
It's so true.
I
It's so
supposed to
true.
feel like this?
It's
What
so
was it that
true.
made you decide to push through and keep going?
Honestly, it was your accountability. I had never had a personal trainer that would, I promise you, I'm not lying about this. We all have a social life. And so I kid you not when I say, from the time I started working with Walter, even though I didn't tell him, he would say to us all the time, he would say to me, if you're going out to eat, just give me a call, let me know what's going on. Tell me what restaurant you're going to. I'll look at the menu. We can talk about what you can eat, yada, yada, yada. Never had that happen. Never had an experience with a personal trainer that would do that. And so I would hear it, but it'd go out the other ear, because I know he's going to say, well, you can't have any drinks and you really shouldn't have, the macaroni and cheese and whatnot. So why would I call him and tell him where I'm going? Because it's like telling on myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't call you. But damn it if you didn't call me. Not
Mm-hmm.
that you knew I was going out. It was just
Nope.
something in the air where you just call a check in to
Yep.
see how I'm doing, and you hear the rustling of dishes and the conversations in
Mm-hmm.
the background, and you would say, "Where are you at right now? Where are you
Right.
at right now?" And I'd be like, "Damn." But here's the good part about it was I wasn't embarrassed to tell you what I was eating
That's
because
true.
I sat there and I thought about what it was I could eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I know if nothing else, when I'm in a restaurant, a salad is always the safe thing for me to eat. The important thing is don't get the dressing. And I've switched to lemon. And it's amazing how good lemon tastes on a fresh salad. And
Mm-hmm.
you can have the extra the beets, and you can have the a little bit of the corn or something that comes on this mammoth salad that they have, and you're not going to eat it all anyway. um but it was that kind of thing. It was the hype attitude every time I saw you. It was the calling me even though um I knew I should be calling you and I didn't call you when I was in the restaurant. It was also going, I think I talked with you. I had a friend that lost a friend, lost his parent actually, and I had to go down to Southern Virginia. That means the South. That means fried chicken,
Mm-hmm.
greens, and potato salad, and all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff was going to be served at the repast. And I knew I was going to be hungry because we're driving from here, going straight there, and then going through the funeral and everything, and going to the repast. But I packed my lunch because
Exactly.
that was something you said. You said, "Dad, well, just pack yourself lunch, and you'll be okay." And so when I packed my lunch, I was really self conscious about bringing a lunch to
Right.
repast. But I said, I've got to know if I'm going to do this, I've got to do it. I've got to face all of these things,
Hmm.
these personal, internal insecurities I have about how I eat in front of who I'm eating and all that kind of stuff. I had to deal with that. And so I had bought earlier in the year a lunchbox that wasn't too big, wasn't too small. That's also a challenge, right? You want to
Right.
get a lunchbox that fits everything that you want, but then you don't know exactly, you don't want it to be too big because then you look like
Defeats the
what you
purpose.
eat, right? But then you don't want it too small because then you're not getting enough, right?
Right.
So you got to find this. I found this crazy looking lunchbox at this place called Bucky's, which is a gas station down south. It's a humongous gas station. And anyway, I packed my lunch in that. And I just had, a couple of boiled eggs for breakfast. And then I had um, a yogurt and I think a half a sandwich for
Hmm.
lunch. I can't remember, it was a tuna packet, something like that. And I had a lot of veggies and a couple of pieces of fruit in my lunch. And I sat down at the repast and everybody was like, wow, um, you brought your lunch to repast? And I'm like, yeah, I've got to watch what I'm eating right now, and I was waiting for all the judgments.
Hmm.
But what I got instead was, that is really, I got like, wow, she's serious. That's impressive.
That's it.
That's cool. I should do better. What I started hearing from the folks was, I should do better.
Uh-huh.
As they're passing the hot sauce down with the fried fish and the fried
Right.
chicken.
And that's what happens.
But it was such a learning moment for me in terms of understanding that um, what I eat is my business, and if I choose to pack a lunch, I'm okay with packing a lunch,
That's right.
um, and the world will be okay, and I'll be okay, and it was a great example. So it was all these little things that became little wins for me
Hmm.
in terms of just things that you were telling me to do, even though, like I said, I fought you enough, quite a bit actually.
You
But
know, the
um,
little changes, right? It's the little
it's the
things, right?
little
It's
things. It's
always
those
the
little
little
things.
things. Everyone
Mhm.
in this space always thinks that you got to make some big, huge, dramatic change to fix it. Yeah, no, it's a couple of small habits, a couple of small things that you got to do, and once you get them down,
It's easy.
it's easy.
It really is easy because I
Good.
find myself packing my lunch whenever I know I'm going to be away from the house,
Hmm.
past the lunch hour. Right, I make sure I've got something in there for me that's healthy for me to either drink a small protein shake or make myself a little something to have to munch on if I want something more with a little bit more bite to it than just
Hmm.
drinking something, which is usually what happens when I'm coming back from the gym because
Right.
I live an hour and a half away from the gym, folks. But I make that commute every time because that's where my level of
Commitment to
call
yourself.
it commitment, desperation, habit forming. I
It's
don't know.
desperation, right? It's not desperation. It can't be desperation because we're not in a desperate case.
No, I'm not in a desperate place
Right.
anymore.
We're in a situation where you get to decide how the rest of your life is going to unfold.
Yeah, that's very true
You know?
but I couldn't do that until I retired.
Exactly.
And
That level of stress you had, man. That job was stressful.
it's very stressful. And I think we as humans don't realize to what extent stress really, and we'll talk about this at a later time again about
Mhm.
stress, but it does really, it is a sneaky, silent killer.
Absolutely.
And you have got to get that stress. If you can't get it away from you, get it under control. And what I've learned is working out gets it under control
Facts.
to a
Now,
certain
leads a
extent.
lot of times because punching people in the face isn't legal.
It's
So I
not
lose weight.
legal. If you want to, but many a time it's not legal. And so you can't do that. So you have to figure it out, right? And so
Right.
stress, for me, I've always internalized stress.
Hmm.
Everybody deals with stress differently. And
That's right.
for me, it was internalizing it. And working out has helped me bring it out to a certain extent But
Hmm.
again, I have a lot of different things that I'm dealing with that have taken 60 plus years to address. And
Sure.
I'm addressing them now. And as they crumble, I'm finding myself getting stronger and more habit forming in the right positive ways.
And
That's
freer,
what's great.
right?
Mhm.
Right? Because
Oh, absolutely.
discipline. I think Jocko Willink says discipline is freedom, and disciplining your mind and your body makes your life freer. It makes you, it gives you more latitude to live the way that you want to live. I think that we constrict ourselves so much by eating and life and work when all we have to do is control those little variables, and we can literally redetermine how our ship sails. So I think
Yeah.
that's awesome. You know,
But
that's
it can be challenging for an emotional eater like myself, right?
sure.
Been that
A
way since
lot of
I
it.
was a child.
Yeah.
And so, but what I've learned is, when I'm feeling that emotion, what can I do instead of running to the kitchen or running to the pantry, to grab something to munch that feeling away, or it's really about busyness too, right?
Hmm.
It's about what can I do to keep myself busy. Well, food, I can preoccupy myself with food to keep myself busy. Or if I'm not near food, I try to find something else. I'll try to read, which again,
Hmm.
but that's making me complacent, right?
Hmm.
So reading is always a way to escape, but you can't escape what it's doing to your body. Not that reading is a bad thing, but you've got to put it in its right perspective and utilize it as a. I utilize reading now as a reward
Hmm.
to from me spending a good amount of my time really focusing on exercising and looking at what I'm eating, and that can be taxing. It's a lot, but
Sure.
once it becomes more, the more habit forming it becomes, you're not thinking about it as much.
Hmm.
But it for me, in order for me to stay on top of it, I have to think about it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's again, that's how I kind of work with it as much as I can.
Okay. No, I get that. Well, that's good. So we're going to take a quick break for a commercial, and
Okay.
then we'll be right back on the other side.
Okay.
And we are back. Thank you to our sponsors. We're back, Walter Sellers and Dale Short, talking about Metamorphosis Unleashed. It's a new podcast that we've just started with this episode. We're open to some name changing. So, down the road, if you guys think of something new and fresh, we might change it. We might not. Who knows?
Those.
But we just heard about Dale and her story and how we've gotten here. And now we're on to the next part. How the heck did I even get here?
Yeah.
you
I'm
know,
sure we all want to know, Walter.
right. I think that I guess we'll start at the end of my career in corporate training. I was a corporate salesman trainer out on the field teaching car dealerships the sales process and how to increase customer service index in every department, right? Sales, service, finance, parts, and how the different parts of the dealership can work together to create more profitability. And at the beginning of the pandemic, way back when, um, my company I worked for got bought out by a larger company, and I was going to be promoted to a national training manager, and that would require me to be in a hotel 4 nights a week. And my family dynamic, that just wasn't going to work. So when I talked it over with family, we determined that I need to figure out what I need to be when I grow up. So
Mhm.
you know, always being an avid gym goer. I have a gym in my basement, and I would have some friends that come over, and I would train them during the first couple of weeks of the pandemic, and it started growing. It was like, I could probably be a personal trainer, and that'd be good. Whatever. So the pandemic is now raging, and people are dying left and right. I mean, we're seeing Governor Cuomo on the TV doing his news conference for hours and hours and hours talking about the number of people dead, people in the hospital, and it's happening all around the country. And they're talking about the comorbidity. I'm like, what the hell's a comorbidity? So I'm looking and I'm investigating, and then we're seeing all of our heroes, at least my heroes growing up, are passing away and from things that they didn't have to die from. And my family members having diabetes and PCOS and being overweight and fibroids. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So I started investigating just for personal curiosity um, about comorbidities and what the biggest ones were that were killing people. And the biggest one was obesity.
Mm.
And there was a tab on the screen next to where I'm reading this information, and it is talking about the disparity between the races and the impact of obesity. And people of color suffer obesity like 60%, 65% greater than every other racial demographic in the country.
That's incredible.
And our education performance was the worst, or is the worst.
Wow.
Our lifespan is the shortest. And now all these things are now the conspiracy theorist in my mind is all swirling around. Now I'm trying to dig deeper. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, how is it possible that we're the fattest?
Yeah.
Even though we're the best athletes,
Mm-hmm.
right? How is it that we're the dumbest, but we have the highest cohort of graduate degrees of Black women? How are we living the shortest when the oldest person in America at the time was 112, who was a Tuskegee Airman? Like I'm looking at all these different things, like it doesn't make sense. But then that's the outliers. That's the outliers. It's the extreme outliers. What about the masses, the 90% of us? And then that's when the numbers started clicking. Because we have the highest instances, highest percentage to ratio of childhood poverty, that means our kids are being malnourished or not as nourished as well. So when they go to school, they're not performing as well because they're tired, because they're hungry, and they can't stay focused. So it's not ADHD. It's not all these buzzwords and things that need drugs. They need healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner. And if the only meal they're getting in school is lunch, we can kind of figure out what the problem is. And that happens majority in poverty-stricken neighborhoods in rural parts of the country. And then I started like, okay, Walter, how can I fix this? So now I need a mission, because remember, I'm still not working.
Right.
So how can I fix this? What's going to be my mission in life to fix this? I'm going to get all the men to be healthy, because the men are going to get the women in line, and get the children in line, and that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That didn't work out.
No, I can't imagine
it. So because I was ignorant, I didn't dig deep enough.
Okay.
And digging deep enough made me realize that 85% of all nutritional decisions made in the household are made by moms. 85%. That's a big number.
But that makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
90% of all health and wellness appointments are made by moms.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Makes sense.
So how can I reach these people to get the children to be healthier so I can solve obesity and education in America the fastest? Well, work on the moms. So now I got to figure out what moms am I in association with. Well, obviously I'm Black. My mom's Black. My sister's Black. My wife's Black. Everybody around me is Black. I'm gonna work on Black women. And then when I looked at the numbers, Black women between the ages 35 and 60 are the most overweight cohort of American citizens, period.
What?
Period. So, and just think, the most educated, it didn't make sense. We think about it. They've been in school the longest. Now they're into their career the longest. They have a baby, don't take time for themselves to get healthy and get well. They just continue and never take care of themselves. So now they're living shorter, not able to pass along the generational knowledge that children need to be able to thrive as they get older. And the grandparents aren't here because grandparents are dying at 65 to 69. So we need to do better. So I need to fix the moms. And so that's what I focused on. And I got certified and learned all about PMS and menstruation and perimenopause and pregnancy and prenatal, postnatal, all these different things about women's health.
Those are real things that impact us.
And I'm going to tell you to understand that there are so many variables that can impact a woman's weight, confidence, and how we can use science to help make it better. Whew. So I dug in my heels, and that's been my focus, right? Making women healthier, to make men healthier, to make kids healthier, so we can have healthier, thriving families.
Right.
And that has been the hallmark of what I do. Do I train men? Yes. Do I train kids? Occasionally. My focus is to help women be stronger, and not just stronger physically, right? Because a lot of times women are in a part of their life in that age group of 30 to 60 where they're single and they're unsure of themselves, or they're in a tough spot in their relationship because both the husband and wife are both overweight, they're diabetic, they're this, they're that, blah, blah, blah. They don't have a good support system. So I have done my best to create a community that people can understand where each other exist and what space they're in. And as that community gets stronger, it just keeps reaching out more and more and more. So that's how I got started doing this. And the business part of it, I mean, that's the easy thing, right? I've been training folks in the sales part for a long time. So it's just a matter of changing what I'm selling to help folks get better. I'm selling you on why you need to live longer and why you need to eat right.
Yes.
It's because it's important, because if moms are eating right, the kids eat right by default.
Yeah.
That's just what happens.
It is.
That's an example. And
that's very true.
So, for me, I like getting the phone calls and the reports. Hey, my doctor taking me off this meds. Hey, Walter, my resting heart rate is 58 and it's always been 71. And now, I'm able to walk up and down the steps. It's those small things. I still remember I have a client who called me in tears. She's supposed to be going on vacation. And she called me in tears. Walter, I'm on the plane. I'm like, fuck, what's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I don't need a seatbelt extender to get on the flight.
Oh my God.
So for me, as a guy who's I didn't even know that type of shit existed. Right? And to get that type of phone call, it changes your perspective, because you've given someone a sense of confidence that they didn't even know that they had, because now they could do something never done. To hear people say, Walter, I can buy my clothes off the rack. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to the fat people store. And one thing that you'll learn about me is that words have power. So I'm not a person who's going to beat somebody up verbally, because that's what a lot of trainers have historically done. I'm the type of person where I'm going to use words that are very, very intentional. You're not weak. You have opportunity for strength.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have fat. You have stored energy. We just got to get it out.
Right.
And I'm not going to lie to you and say you need to lose only 10 pounds. I'm going to tell you need to lose 60.
Right.
And let you sit with it. Right. And understand why being a size 6 or a size 8 is far better than a size 10 or a size 12. And just because the people around you say, oh, no, girl, you're thick. No, you're fat. No, you need to face it. You need to embrace it. You need to own the fact that you are not healthy. And it is going to be uncomfortable. But I'm going to be along the ride with you. And I'm going to hold you up and hold you accountable to make sure that you can accomplish the goal that you came in to do. And I'm going to drag you, push you, pull you across the finish line, kicking and screaming if I have to. But that's what you pay me for. And that's why, we do this. If you can go through medical school, law school, pharmacy school, MBA, if you can get all those degrees and all those plaques, you can lose the 50 or 60 pounds. Come on. And it takes less time.
We did do harder things.
Right.
For
A
sure.
lot of people, you've had kid or kids, and all those things. It's time to own the fact that you have to be the captain of your ship,
Yeah.
and I'm just here helping you steer it.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
it.
that's the story of how I got here.
And it makes sense. It
Hmm.
makes absolute sense now that I think about when we first met and when you first started working with me, and where I was mentally, and how intentional you were with every little thing that we did.
Hmm.
And I'd be the first one to tell you, Walter, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. It's not happening. I'm not going to do it. And you turn around, and next thing I know, I'm doing it. And it's
That's
like,
right.
what the heck, and then my mood swings because I'm, post menopause, and that, just getting over that period of time, dude. I thought I was a terrible boss. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure I gave some people some, I didn't give them any grace.
Right.
But for me, I now looking back at it, I recognize that a lot of my negative moods and a lot of my um, just being unhappy had a lot to do with the stress that I was under,
Hmm.
and my uh, just long work hours. I was working sometimes 12-hour, 16-hour days. I didn't have strength to do anything else but go home, take a shower, climb into bed.
Hmm.
So I know everything in that point in my life when I met you, but I was just in a bad place in terms of just the work. Um, Socially, I wasn't really out there like that. I just would just come and stay home, but I'd go to
Hmm.
church on Sunday, but I would stay home. And because I didn't have the energy to do anything else unless somebody's daughter or son had something going on.
Right.
I would definitely go to support. And other than that, but that also meant I knew I was going to be eating unhealthily doing that
Hmm.
as well, right? So it's just a vicious cycle that I found myself in, and having you there, they come in and just kind of shake up everything, and it's very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable, but it was needed, and I think once most people realize that that shakeup was needed, then it's not as challenging. It's still challenging,
Hmm.
but mentally there's understanding with that challenge.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's remembering that you have to. I won't say. I think putting you first is such a misnomer because it doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing. You're always going to put yourself first, right? It's taking care of yourself first. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Because if you're not your best you, then you can't be your best for everybody else.
Or is it, well, I think I heard that, I'm always listening to different um, motivational things. That's something else you got me in the habit of, right? And
Right.
it's so funny how I got into that because initially you were having us listen to these motivations about, oh, you're a sweet woman, love
Hmm.
yourself, and this, that, and the other. And my temperament was like, girl, that ain't doing nothing for you at all. Looking at a woman that was raised with older brothers in the
Right.
military environment all of my life,
Uh-huh.
I need a staff sergeant to tell me, get off your behind and let's get done, you know. But I found it, and I found the use of YouTube being a great tool,
Hmm.
right? And everything that I've been learning are all just tools that we have to just put in our individual toolbox that's going to help us when we need it, when we need those, particular tools for whatever. And the motivations are important. It
Hmm.
just as important as your feedback, positive. Um, it's never, I will never say that your feedback is negative. It's always been constructive,
Hmm.
right? And I appreciate that. I think constructive um, conversations are necessary through our individual journeys, right? And I look at all these different women, personal trainers, on Instagram or YouTube or whatever. And, sometimes it's just heartbreaking to see
Mhm.
their, like seeing a woman that's very, very large. And, I'm a large woman, but I've always been active athletic wise, right? I
Right.
stopped playing softball when I was 29, almost 30. That's only
Mhm.
because I had a baby, right? Um, but all the years before that, I was always active, always doing things. So I'm looking at a woman that on this particular meme or whatever you want to call it, who didn't look like she was very active at all, looked like she could barely even, um, do a squat. And you have this personal trainer in this car with her in front of the car, and he's like, "You better move or I'm going to run you over," type of situation. And I just felt like I was I was so angry because I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not the way to do it. How
Agreed.
is that motivating her? And I don't know if that's just the coach in me
No, that's
thinking that's pretty cruel.
that is. I mean, I think that it's the boxers, but I think let's press pause for a second, and we're going to take a break and come back and let's talk about what makes a good trainer from a trainer's perspective and from a client's perspective, and what makes a good client from both.
Okay.
And we are back continuing our conversation. When we left last, we were talking a little bit of getting into personal trainers running over people in cars. So let's talk about that a little bit. Dale, you said you've had a few personal trainers in the past. Um, to you, if you could describe your ideal trainer, what would he or she look like?
Um, it could be a male or female.
Hmm.
Um, I think the most important thing for me is that he or she can get into my head,
Sure.
because getting healthy is not just a physical thing, it's also a mental thing.
Hmm.
For me, the physical, I can remember going to, like on the holidays, they would have these, down in the DC area, they would have these workout days because the kids would still be in school, but everybody else would be off, right? So
Right.
there was only 2 times a year this would happen for federal workers, right? Where the
Right.
kids are still in school, but you had the day off. And so they would have this big workout, class type of deal. They have African drummers, they'd have this, they'd have that, they'd have step, they'd have, a little bit of everything. And I'd be in there and I'd just get it done, get it done, get it done. I could do that.
Right.
But then I guess when we finish, we go to IHOP and kill everything that we did. And that
Oh,
was a constant thing. And that nobody told us that was wrong.
right.
Nobody told us that was wrong because, we're thinking, oh, we got to replenish because we done sweated ourselves to death.
Hmm.
We had a good time. We know we lost at least a good 5 pounds in this 3 hour, 4 hour deal, and it
Right.
was that time without the kids of let's go out and eat. And then you get a big stack of pancakes along with some eggs and bacon and, you call it a day.
Right.
I didn't eat the rest of that day, but nobody told us that was wrong. That's
Sure.
not recovery. That's
Nope.
just partying and then chilling and eating afterwards.
Yeah.
And so that particular trainer would be there with us.
Eating
She's there
along.
with us, eating along with us. And then I start thinking like, wow, she's as thick as I am.
Right.
So why would I think I'm unhealthy? Right? No, it wasn't until I started having conversations with you and understanding how food reacts to the body
Right.
and how exercise reacts to the body
Hmm.
made me realize that all of these years I was doing this stuff, I was doing it wrong, Um, so that's one piece of it, right? The other piece of it is if they come to me hard and criticizing me, that's not going
Hmm.
to help me.
That's
That's
right.
just going to feed my insecurities even more,
Hmm.
right? So for me, a good trainer is someone that understands me, that can get in my head, that understands what my that what's going on with me. It may be different than what's going on with another one of their clients, but they
Uh-huh.
just have to understand that every person is different, everybody is different, and everybody reacts differently to different machines and weights and
Your people
all
coming
that
here
kind of
showing off. You see this?
stuff. But um, it's just very true. Those things are very different, and
Mhm.
you know, it, it- understanding that is great. Also, having a trainer that understands training.
Mhm.
Right? I've had a trainer that was like, okay, yeah, go in there, get on the bike for 15 minutes. Doesn't explain to me why I need to get on the bike for 15 minutes. Just
Mhm.
get on the bike 15 minutes because I got to work with somebody else that's already in here that I've already started working with. So go ahead and maybe warm up 15 minutes on this bike, but doesn't say put the put the um, put the bike on setting 3 to give you that
Mhm.
type of resistance. None of that. Just get on the bike, So you're still kind of doing it yourself and
Right.
you're relying on somebody. So you got these people that overbook themselves. So they really can't attend to you. So I don't want
Right.
that kind of trainer. So I've had that. Um, I've also had the trainer that was more interested in picking up women than working with women.
Right.
So if you had the booty size, which I did not have, uh, didn't get much attention from him, right? But it's okay. You learn these things by experiencing these things. And
Mhm.
so I had better discernment in
Right.
terms of understanding what to me a good trainer was, right?
Okay.
And so for me, they've got to understand my mind, understand my challenges, understand weights, because I'm going to ask, well, what is this going to do for me if I do this? Someone who's knowledgeable about the different weights, understanding
Mhm.
what circuit weights are versus free weights and how they work with the body. That's important
Mhm.
to understand. Understanding that warm up and what a warm up is, why we need to warm up.
Mhm.
Why is it necessary to warm up, right? Understanding that if you do something that's intimidating to you, take your time with it, but you'll get it done. Like the Stairmaster.
Like the
The
Stairmaster.
Stairmaster, that is like my biggest thing right now, right? I can't wait to get back on that booger because, when I get back, I'm going to get on that Stairmaster because I felt like I had accomplished something I never thought I could ever do. 30
Right.
minutes on a Stairmaster.
It's
What?
tough. It's
It
listen.
wasn't
I've
easy.
been doing this. I've been doing it for 30 years. It
It
still kicks my behind.
it wasn't easy, but you know what kept me going was even though, you know, you weren't standing right there next to me,
Mhm.
you made a point to say, "Come on, Dale, you got this."
Mhm.
And I would just hear that little bit and I would just keep going. Before I knew it, I was 30 minutes
30
in. Man,
minutes in, that's it.
that was great.
That's and I think that the the best trainers are always the ones who do take time to not just listen to the words that the client is saying, but to see how their body is responding and see how their body language is while they're doing something. A lot of people
Mm.
can exude this big confidence. I can do it, and I'm massaging you. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna die. Let me make sure you don't pass out. So someone who's aware of their client makes a big deal to me. Um, I don't think that enough people take the time to understand their clients' cues, right?
Hmm.
Um, Knowing exactly when that person is at their limit and say, okay, stop. That matters. Paying attention to when the form is breaking down or when they're half-assing it and they could do more. Knowing when to add more, take some away. All those parts matter to me as a coach or as a trainer. And I think a lot of people lose that because a lot of trainers may have read the book. A lot of trainers may have even took the test. Not a lot of trainers have done the stuff,
Mm.
right? And I think that finding a trainer or a coach who's actually done the stuff, matters. How can you like even me, as much as I can read about menopause, I can never tell you what it's like to have menopause, right?
Right.
Because I'm never gonna have it.
Right.
But I can understand it and understand that all right, these are the symptoms, which is everything in the world. These are the symptoms. But how and when to push people during those different parts of their journey um, makes a big difference.
Right.
So knowing that men and women are going to respond the same,
Right.
right?
Right.
Knowing that a husband and wife can sign up at the same time and want to work out together, but knowing that you can't have a husband and wife that are both competitive people working out at the same time, right? Well, Walter, why not? Well, because the husband's going to progress faster than the wife is, and it's not because you're sexist or anything like that. It's because he has testosterone, she doesn't. So his response to the weights and resistance training and the cardio is going to be far faster than a significant other. What else do we know? We know that can be something that's negatively impacting her workout. So
Mm.
that and be negatively impacting his because now he's going to try to slow down to make her feel and that whole protector mode between the husband and wife it just doesn't work, right?
Mm.
So the first week or two, great, but after that, you can't work at the same time. It's not going to work.
Mm.
So understanding that and having enough experience and enough working knowledge to learn those things that all matters. So some of the best trainers um, spend a lot of their time on the psychological part. Me, I like the lift and weights part. That's just me because I'm really good at that stuff. But taking the classes and reading enough to understand and connect to people during those different parts of their journeys all matter to me too. Um, and that's what I think makes this place a little bit different is because we find the way here to connect to our people. Because if I can do that, then that'll make you more confident about what you're doing and more likely to be successful because we'll be able to reduce the opportunity for error, for mistakes and injuries. Because when you execute with confidence, then you're going to react to lifting the weight stronger, you're going to grip it stronger, you're going to work through it harder, and all those things. But when you're not as confident on a movement, your form deteriorates really, really quickly, and it's not as safe, and blah 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 blah. So having someone to listen to understand and observe and know what your capabilities are as a trainer, that's your responsibility, that's your job. And then knowing exactly when to push them, when to shove them, and when to grab them and pull them back in. So
Yeah.
and it takes time to do that. You're not going to get that as a trainer right away, and you're not going to get it right away with every person because some people mask it really well. Some people may have had experience in the past, and you can see their experience, and then you can also see when they lose a little bit of what they're doing. So all those things all matter.
Mm. So let me ask you this. So when you see a client that is, um, I don't want to say just not following through with what you're suggesting them to do,
Mm-hmm.
but are just in a place where they are just struggling, but not being vocal with you
Sure.
about struggling. How do you reach them to find out that they're struggling?
Ask questions. You know, one of the good things about looking at bodies for a living is you can look at a body. You look at bodies for a living, and you should be able to look at someone when they're working out, when they're walking, when they're just standing there, um, if they're struggling with something.
Hmm.
And even if they're not vocal about it, it's your responsibility as a coach to get it out of them. It's your responsibility as a coach to reach them in a way they can't even seemingly reach themselves to tell them that yes, they can. Uh, so um, I'm adamant about certain words in my studio. Can't is not a word that you're allowed to use in here. Um, I, I just don't let you. We're gonna fight and we're gonna go through it, and you can yell at me and scream me, and you're really not gonna win. So, but that's the key is you have to be really really, especially in the first 3 to 4 months with somebody, you've got to be really, really observant. You've got to really, really pay attention to them. Um, It's so much to the fact that even when you're not there and you built their workouts when you're not together, you should be able to know what exercises are going to be tough for them, and which ones aren't. So when you make the weekly follow up call, hey, how to go when you did this in particular, that those types of things are what your job is as a coach, as a trainer. You got to know those things. You got to know your person. So
Mm,
that's important.
that's good. I think people just, it's definitely an investment, right? Coaching,
Absolutely.
uh, getting a personal trainer is not cheap. Um, and, I think your average person may struggle with getting that amount of money together for a personal trainer. And some just say, I'm just going to go in there and do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that when you make a decision to hire yourself a personal trainer, you should definitely get someone that is going to be there for you. And that was one of the things that, to me,
Mm-hmm.
um, divided the trainers, right? From the
Right.
elite trainers to your average trainer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have those trainers who are new in the game.
That's right.
And I found that a lot of the newer trainers that are new in the game are personal trainers, and correct me if I'm wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
are mainly the personal trainers you find in the big box gyms, right? And they work for the gym company, and they you sign your life away on their contracts, and you start working out with someone and you're doing well with them, and then all of a sudden they're not there.
That's right.
You
Quickly.
got to find out where's my trainer, and then you're like, oh, that person no longer with us. So here we go, we've got trainer B for you, and that trainer
Right.
B is going to work with you, but you've already started moving,
Mm-hmm.
and you're finding yourself getting in that good space and working well with this trainer, and they're getting to understand you, and now you got to start all over again. That is disheartening.
Sure. I
That is
agree.
disheartening. And so
That's the
um,
hard part about this business. The business part. That's a nasty part of the game. Unfortunately, there is no one. There's not one specific governing body for being a personal trainer, right? So like, there's NASM, there's ESA, there's Action, there's Brooks Bush. There's 20 different places that you can get certified for. There's Girls Going Strong. There's all these ones that you can get certified in, and they're all going to be a little bit different. And they're going to cost a little bit more, cost a little bit less. All those things all happen, and sometimes the job will pay for it, sometimes you pay for it. So the level of the investment of the trainer is impacted by the income that they're going to earn at the particular place that they're working. So let's say LA Fitness, for instance, or Big Box Gym A. There, trainers will make minimum wage when they're not with the client, and then $20 an hour when they're working with the client. And then they quickly realize, well, shit, I can go on my own and charge $50 a session. Okay, but now you don't have access to a big gym, you don't have access to any of this stuff. So it becomes a rat race for the trainer. So then his or her effort is now directly impacting the client's, experience, because they're not getting the same deal across the board, business to business, blah 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 blah. And I think that it takes away from the positive experiences that people can have. I think you're right. People want to invest in someone that they know is going to be there for them, and
mhm.
that's going to be able to connect with them and continually make them stronger, better, faster, better butter burners, right? We want to burn through the fat as possible. We want to make our lives better, make ourselves stronger, and that's not the norm. There's no norm. So finding a trainer who's certified in whichever one, and then finding a trainer with experience, and then finding a trainer who's actually done the stuff. I think those are the three things that you have to look for when you're looking for a trainer. Just because he or she has a fantastic body does not mean they know what the hell they're doing,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because I know plenty of women and plenty of men that look great, but that don't mean they know what they're talking about.
Right.
You know, you want to look for someone. Yes, they should be certified through one of the larger governing agencies, whether it's ESA, NASM, whoever. I'm not promoting any of them. Just they should be certified through one of them. Um, they should also have experience in working with someone in your demographic, whether it's age, weight, male, female. They should to be able to connect and understand with you. They should have a personal working knowledge of lifting weights. They should be in my opinion, I could be, they should have been an athlete in college or in high school. They should be actively working out. Um, you should not look better physically than your client than your trainer does, in my opinion. Maybe
Mhm.
I'm jaded a little bit, but your trainer, when your trainer walks in the room or goes somewhere, oh, that person's a trainer. That you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That should be the conversation when that person walks in the room. If that's not the conversation, then maybe that's not the right type of trainer. But that's just my own biased opinion. So I try to live by it. I lift weights a lot. My clients lift weights a lot. I do bodybuilding and powerlifting, and I think that your trainer should have those types of levels of experience, even if it's just at a local level, should have those types of experiences because he or she has a responsibility to you, the consumer, as them being a professional and understanding all of those things so they can better help you. That gives them a different type of way to draw it in. And I think that's important. Um,
Well,
under,
that knocks out a lot of people on Instagram.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've seen. This is the ones that capture my eye sometimes, are the ones that say they've lost 100 pounds,
Yeah. And now they're
and
a trainer.
you know, come and join me. Got to be real leery of all of those
That's right.
because
And that doesn't even tell the whole story. You know, there are so many things that are dumb out there in the world. Oh, let me do this cabbage soup diet. What? It's like oh, yes, okay, great. You lost 100 pounds. Wonderful. How'd you do it?
right,
Well, I didn't eat for 4 months. Well, duh.
yeah,
How you look with no clothes on? How about that? That
yeah,
matters. You
yeah, it
know?
does.
Good. Grab a pair of 20s, do it one more time. Um,
You can see he's still
a pair
nothing gets past him. Nothing gets past him.
right? So I also think that the online businesses and nothing against them because if I could get a million people buying my $29.99 a month plan, I'd be happy too. But I just think that people should have a working knowledge of and a working level experience, and I think that it's equally as important for your trainer to be knowledgeable about nutrition as well,
Mm,
because how your body expends calories thermogenically matters. So that's just how fast your body heats up and how much calories you burn by breathing. All those things matter, and someone who understands that as an advocate on your team of medical professionals matter. And I say medical professionals intentionally because we see you more than your doctor sees you.
hmm.
So when something's wrong, we're gonna know.
Right.
And if I don't know the answer, I'm gonna say, hey, you need to go investigate this because something's wrong.
And that's one thing that I've learned about a really good personal trainer. Like you said, when it's like when you I'm not gonna say diagnose, but you watched me walk in one day and you said you're imbalanced. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I've learned um, in my when I was gaining my wellness coaching
Mm-hmm.
certification was
Mm-hmm.
um, that a personal trainer has a level of responsibility for those that they are training
Mm-hmm.
in terms of understanding them physically,
Yes.
and ensuring that they're physically healthy, even when they're doing certain exercises, they need to still be physically healthy, and that you should not be doing anything to harm anyone.
Correct.
Right. And, you can find a lot of trainers who may take that side of the road of, well, I didn't know. And because I didn't know, I don't hold me responsible or accountable for what happened to you,
Yeah.
type of deal. Um, but in fact, we have to do, as a consumer, as a
Mm-hmm.
person that wants a personal trainer, we have to do our due diligence to ensure that the trainer is, like you said, certified,
Mm-hmm.
that the trainer does have a little bit of knowledge, and there's nothing wrong with you as a consumer questioning the person that you're going to hire to train them, to
And look
ensure
after your body. I mean,
the knowledge. Yeah, exactly. Um, because one of the things that I've learned going into the big box type of gyms and working with those trainers are, they ask you the ho hum kind of questions, like,
mm-hmm.
when was the last time you've been in the gym? When was the last time you um, did any running? Those very general questions,
Yeah,
um, that really don't give them the full picture. It
exactly.
really doesn't.
It
And
should take 10, 15 minutes for you to fill out a survey, in my opinion,
yeah,
answers, because it's not just when the last time you exercised or ran, it's what meds are you on?
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
are you on something that's slowing your heart rate down? Are you on something that's speeding your heart rate up? Are your
Right,
blood thinners? All those things matter to the type of exercise we're going to do, because it may be almost impossible for you to get to a cardio burning zone on the treadmill, not because you're not trying hard, but just because you're on a beta blocker and it ain't gonna
and
work. So
that's important.
that's important to know, and people don't understand. People don't know how that can impact your workout. And
Right,
because they don't know how that can impact your workout, they're not going to ask the questions to make
right,
that make sense. And
right.
if they give you a meal plan, or they give you a meal plan, it's going to impact your meds. How do we make some folks just, it's more than I don't eat that, I don't eat this. It's should you eat this and should you eat that? And that's your responsibility, in my opinion, like I said, as a coach. Uh, yeah, I think that's the.
But that's so critical. That's so important. That is just so, so important. And for anyone that's watching us, I think it's important that you understand that when you're going to hire a personal trainer,
Mhm.
you know, you are the one that's pushing that button. So make sure that person is going to work for you. And if they don't, have the courage to say thank you, but no thank you.
Right.
And sometimes we have a hard time saying that thank you, but no thank you.
Mhm.
But for your own betterment, and so that your journey is a journey that you enjoy.
Right.
Weight loss and getting fit, it should not be a punishment. It should be something you enjoy. And
Correct.
and it's something that you should never be able to walk away with without understanding or learning what you did, why you did it, and how it's impacting your body.
Mhm. Exactly.
So,
And your trainer should be able to give you confidence in what you're doing. He or she shouldn't make you feel self-conscious about what you're doing. Um, that's kind of the reason that what I've noticed about the big, huge gyms is they can be intimidating. Like, even visiting every gym. Like, I like going to gyms. I mean, it's my thing. So when I go out of town, I like going to big fancy gyms, and if there's one available, let's go check them out. So, I went to Gold Gym in Venice Beach, one of the most spectacular places,
wow.
in the world to go work out. Outside the fact there's a lot of great bodies to look at. Outside of that part, you know, eh, there you can tell the difference between folks who just are walking in and just looking there like, I don't know what to do next. Okay, and then they go right to the treadmill. Versus, coming to a smaller place where there's not as much stuff, or there's everything there, but there's not 10 of everything. But people are actually helping folks learn and understand the machines, and that's my goal here. Is I want to be able to touch and feel. I guess whatever. It's 2025. Figure it out. Touch and feel all my clients because I need them to understand how all the machines work. I
Mm.
want you to know with confidence that you can go to any gym, any facility in the world, look at a machine, even if you've never seen it before, look at the angles and where all the buttons, knobs, and switches are. You know what? I know what this does. Let me use this. Right? And I want people to have that confidence that they can do that when they're not with me. Yes. And
That's important.
and that's important, right? Because Walter's not always going to be here. Walter's going to retire eventually.
What? No, you can never retire. No,
Right. Yeah. So, and it's my responsibility to leave you better than when we found each other. So you have to know how everything works. You have to know how to build your own workout. You have to know what your plate when you go eat should look like. You've got to know all these things. And if I've done my job right, or your trainer has done their job right, then you will. You'll be able to go out of town and stay in a hotel and say, you know what? I got this. Let me put together a dumbbell workout. Oh, cool. You only got a universal machine. I can do a full body workout with universal machine. Whatever it is, you should be able to build a plan.
that's good, and that's important.
Yeah.
That really is important.
3 sets of 12, 1 set of 20.
I miss that. I miss that.
She's missing you, Val.
I need you to come home.
Minnesota has been a wonderful experience, but I'm ready to get back so I can get back into my routine. I do miss it. And I
Good.
never have said that. Looking back 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have never have said I miss being in the gym. And
Right?
we'll talk about being gym rats.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never, ever, ever have ever thought of myself as being a gym rat. But what I've learned is not that I'm a gym rat. What I'm learning is that the gym really speaks to me in terms of keeping my mind in a place of positivity
Sure.
and keeping my body feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm not exercising, it feels good. When I'm not in a place where, like being here, negative 21 degrees, I can't be outside. I can't get that done. I don't have gym equipment, so I'm using what tools that you've given me here,
Mm-hmm.
but my body feels like it needs more.
Right.
And I know I will get that more when I go back to the gym.
Yep.
I've never experienced that before, and I'm
Right.
experiencing that a lot right now. But I'm happy that I'm experiencing it because now I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think that everybody who is new to the gym game and gets in the gym, will start learning these as you start having conversations
Mm-hmm.
with your personal trainer,
Mm-hmm.
having conversations with others that are in the gym that are working towards the same goal, which is not to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Nope.
not to you know, to, well, we'd all love to have the body of Angela Bassett, but that may not be our bone structure or our muscle structure
Right.
to feel as good as she looks. I think that's what all of our goals are, to
Got it.
feel as good as the Arnold Schwarzeneggers or the Walter Stellers or
Mm-hmm.
the other people that are, in the competition
Mm-hmm.
of uh, of of living, right?
Right.
I think that is, we want to feel good,
Right.
and what we equate to feeling good is someone who has a size 18 waist or a size 20 waist, and
Mm-hmm.
it has the Angela Bassett look, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But for me, I've just realized that it's not that I want to look like them. I just want to feel good.
Got
And
it.
I think that's what feeling good would do for me, would make me feel like the Angela Bassett's of the world.
And that's the part that people don't get. about working out, it's not about looking like all the other folks, right? It is just what you just said. It's about how you feel about you, and to restore your confidence, or to increase your confidence, or create your confidence for yourself, is what the gym does. Because doing something that you didn't know you could ever do, and then once you start doing it, doing more,
Yeah.
right. So there's something different about what you get from someone who works out and someone who doesn't. When you're interviewing someone for a job, in my opinion, if they work out, then they understand the principle of delayed gratification,
Mm,
right? And they understand that everything doesn't happen all at once.
mm,
And to me, that's the type of person that it takes to be a good leader, to be a good employee, a good employer, someone who understands that fact. There is Amazon Prime isn't coming tomorrow with your new body, so you need to work on it today.
damn Amazon.
So you know, so I guess that would be my keys to a trainer. Does he or she have a certification? Does he or she have their own practical working knowledge of it? Does he or she have experience working with somebody who looks and feels like you? And finally, are they a practitioner of all the things that they're asking you to do? And that should be the checklist. Oh, and they look the part, right? That should be the checklist of what the average he or she should look for at a gym. Not everyone's going to be able to find a Charles Glass or find a Billy Blanks or a Sean T to be your coach. So
Or David Goggins.
Or Goggins, right, to be your coach.
Right.
Most places have just normal guys who understand how your body moves, understand the science, and have executed the behavior, on their own. And that should be something that's enough. And if they know enough about nutrition to get you on the right path, then you'll be in good hands, in my opinion. So
That's good.
that's what I got, Miss Dale. I think that this was great. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. It
It
was
was
fun.
enjoyable. So we're gonna come back next week. I came with a couple of new ideas while we were sitting here talking, and I think that each week we're gonna bring you new stuff, and we're gonna talk about different. Today I got a couple: how your family impacts your workout, emotional eating, the misinformation in fitness. I just came with a bunch of ideas just while we were sitting here. So we're gonna be exploring new different types of content with different types of inputs, and eventually we'll get into interviewing some other folks who are definitely in this fitness community, who are definitely big folks. I've got some good friends, and maybe Dale has some friends in other spaces where we can talk about how having a healthy workforce impacts productivity.
Oh, for sure.
So these are the types of things that we want to talk about to make it better.
Okay. And I came up with a couple new ones I was thinking about.
Write them down.
One is, I did write them down, but I want to
Okay.
tell you because I'm sure people are going to want to hear about this. What to wear and what not to wear in the gym.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a big dilemma when you're first going into the gym.
Right.
And what is the gym etiquette? What is
gym etiquette? I like it.
Yeah, you see people sitting there on their phones. They're sitting there using the bench. They sit there for 30 minutes and they haven't done anything.
Ain't lifted one weight.
Not a weight, but they're filming themselves doing everything, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, gym etiquette. What does that look like?
Okay. We'll talk about that. So we'll bring in next week. We'll have a new topic for you guys. We ain't gonna say what it is till we talk about it first.
Yeah. For sure.
But thank you to our sponsors, and please click like, subscribe, comment, do all the stuff. Tell us what you want us to talk about, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
Peace.
Peace.